Just cracks me up, man.
It scares the hell everybody on leg day when I walk in wearing it.
Rick, would you mind? I just hit record after you sat down. Would you mind showing that off one more time? That is sweet. What doesn't kill you disappoints me. That's good. Talk about congruent. We were just talking about the importance of congruency. That message is perfectly congruent with Rick Streb. That's him.
I got another one I have to show you that I just got the other day. Hold on.
All right. While Rick's doing that, this is the Referral Challenge Q&A Mastermind call for May the 12th. Please do not confuse your Google search with my dietetics degree.
Yeah.
I like it, but I'm please do not confuse your Google. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's like what doctors say. Like I was just in with the doctor, you guys all know. And I was telling him, and he was asking me what my, what I'm experiencing, things like that. And I'm like, well, here's what I'm experiencing, and here's what I discovered through my own search. And he's like, oh no, oh brother, like that. Professionals react that way. Yeah. All right.
With your keto post, you know that, right? You look firestorm.
Again, welcome to the Q&A Mastermind Call Referral Challenge for May the 12th, 2017. So just the update, no real big updates. I sent it out in the email today, but just want to encourage everybody to utilize that content that we're putting up there. And going forward, we're going to try and do a little bit more pre-customization work on content as we load it up, so that you have even more stuff that's really just plug and play as close as it can possibly be, because it's a great strategy. Content marketing strategy is a fantastic strategy, and it is totally congruent with what we do in the Referral Challenge, and it supplements and complements everything that we're doing. So that's all I've got. Aaron, do you have any updates or anything you want to talk about? All right, very good. Well, then let's just go around the horn and see what's going on. Wayne, how are you doing, brother? I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you, and let us know how things are going.
Glad you're back.
Thank you, sir.
Things are going really good. I've been really super busy lately. We started a 6-week challenge 4 weeks ago. We had about 20 new people, along with 20 members that started it. And so I'm dealing with those 20 new people, trying to love on them a lot, give them a lot of personal attention. And then this past Monday, we started a 30-day program, and 40 people signed up for that. So I'm dealing with 60 new people, and I'm really trying to up the game with the training and bringing the enthusiasm. And I got a new service a couple months ago called a texting service called Scipio.
Yeah.
Where you can group message people, and you can customize it so you can make it look like it's a personal message.
Right.
Because I was doing that manually. I was sending personal messages. I might copy and paste it and just change the name, but this makes it so much quicker. So that's a big time saver.
Leverage. I like it. I like it.
So we're hoping to flip a lot of those into full membership.
Awesome. So I got a couple questions for you on that. I'm making a note so I don't forget anything. First of all, you said you got 20 new and 20 existing clients on the 6-week challenge, and then you got 40. I think you said 40 new or 30 new on the 30-day challenge. What do you think is the difference? Why do you think you got more on the 30-day, even though I realize you got existing clients? Why did you get more new people on the 30-day, do you think?
The 6-week program was a more in-depth program where we do a lot more for them. We have speakers come in. We have a tasting at an olive oil company that we invite them to, and there's a big party for them at the end, and it's just for women only. And the cost of that program was $249 for 6 weeks. And so for members, we did that $50. For non-members, it was $249. That's why we had some members do that one. The 30-day program was for non-members only, and that was $97. And I just repeated the same program we did in March. It was called Fit in 30. We did it in March for $97, and I think because it was only 30 days and less than $100, that's less than our membership of $167. So we only allowed new people that have not been to us before. Otherwise, you just have people coming in and taking advantage of it.
Right.
Only new people doing it. And we had 40 people in March, and about 20 of those joined full membership. So I just repeated the same program, but just called it Summer Kickstart instead of Fit 30. And so we had 40 brand new people that haven't tried us out before.
Beautiful.
But that was the difference in the programs. One was more in depth and long term, and also open to members. This one was lower than the monthly membership, so we only allowed new people and not members.
Okay, well, that's fantastic and a good analysis. And so what about the marketing for those? Do you do a combination of like Facebook ads and mailing your own list, or how does it work?
My mailing list is 1,500, between 1,500 and 2,000 that are confirmed. I'm not sure how many are not confirmed, but I'm not sure if they actually get the emails or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're unconfirmed, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't get the emails. Okay, so I send out messages, I send out things to them, and usually that's like a before and after of a member leading up to it and announcing it, but I also do Facebook advertising. That's a lot tougher than it was. Something's happening to Facebook, then it's different than it was a year ago.
Oh yeah, it's only gonna get harder. But so you've got a good sized list, especially considering you've only been in business for less than 2 years, right? Year and a half. So how'd you grow your list so substantially in such a short period of time? I mean, really, I know people have been in business for 5 years who don't have 1,500 on their list.
Well, our Fit Body headquarters has a website, and every time they opt in for 3 free days, it puts them into the mailing list. And anytime anybody comes in and tries us out, we put them on the mailing list. Anytime I run an ad, sometimes I run an ad just as an opt-in to get people on the email list, a Facebook ad. Or if I'm running an ad like for the 30-day challenge that we just did, usually double the amount of people opt in, and only about half end up showing up. That's what I'm finding out.
Yeah.
So about 80 people, I think, signed up that they were interested when I created a landing page and an opt-in box. About 80 people said they were interested, and about 40 ended up coming in and joining.
All right, fantastic. Now, just one more on this regarding the 30-day challenge that you just did that got 40 folks. What percentage of those came off your list, your internal house list, and what percentage came from Facebook?
I think most of them were new. I think most of them are off of the Facebook ads, and I think I spent about between $300 and $400 on the Facebook ads.
Okay, but you think most of them came off Facebook, so you pulled a very small number off your own list.
I can't remember. I don't have it broken down. I know I should. That's a good question.
Yeah, definitely something you want to look at. What about what email provide? Oh, are you using you're using the Fit Pro newsletter for your email? Yeah. Okay. Do you get open rate statistics?
For the emails, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. You should be able to find out what your hard bounces are and what your, you've got open rate, and that's good. That'll give you a good indication. I know you're not planning on switching. I'm just curious. It's interesting. But number one, good for you for growing your list that substantially. The other thing would be I'd work on nurturing that list, because with a list that size, you should ideally, it's not hard and fast, but with a list of 1,500 people, you should be able to sell 30 people into your own program just from your list without having to go to external. But again, it's not a hard and fast rule, but ideally you have that type of relationship, and these people are warm and ready to buy. So I would just look at nurturing the list some more. So two other things on this, not on this. Number one, have you heard about Rick's fast action technique that he uses during we covered it extensively a few weeks ago on one of these calls, how he upsells essentially his full package to folks who take advantage of challenges. Are you familiar with that, Wayne?
I think I was on that call, or maybe I just heard part of it. Was that where you do a group close, Rick?
No, when they come in one-on-one, I have it built into my agreement when they signed up for my challenge, to where I get them to lock in the rate, but they've got up to a week before the end of their challenge to let me know if they're not going to continue. So I don't have to go resell them. Then all I have to do is just show them a great time.
I strongly recommend you to look into that, Wayne. And you can see it. Rick explains it in depth on one of the videos. I think it's about 3 weeks ago, but it's highlighted in the member area. I say right above the video, listen to this. Rick talks about the fast action thing. And also, Rick uploaded his document to the member site, to the Facebook group. So if you search for Rick Streb, you'll find that fast action document. And it's gold. It's literally like Rick just gave everybody money. So, and particularly in your case, Wayne, I think it would be perfect fit for you.
I think it'll make your conversion so much easier. To give you an idea, and I know we were going to talk about this when it was my turn, but to give you an idea, Wayne, when we did the tax challenge the week before, I did a transformation challenge, marketing thing too. Between the two, I signed up 49 people. We've got, I think, one more week before they all start coming due. I think it's actually this coming Monday. So far, only 3 people out of 49 have let me know they're not going to continue. To me, that's pretty darn strong.
Wow.
Now, I'll have better numbers after next week, because expect a few more to come through. But when you do it, you're telling them right now you're expecting them to continue, in essence. But you're also saying, but if you're not happy here for whatever reason whatsoever, you just need to give me the notice a week before, and we're still going to part friends. The difference is I'm going to treat you like an adult the way you should be and make you responsible for yourself instead of me chasing you down.
Yeah. And there's an incentive built into it for them to take advantage of the opportunity. They get a price incentive, which
yes.
we talked a lot about the whole strategy on that particular call. So I would, again, encourage you to listen to it, Wayne, or go back and re-listen to it and utilize it. And last thing I got for you, Wayne, is we talked specifically with you about a month ago or so about sales, about selling. Have you had a chance to noodle through how you want to try and convert these people, whether you're going to do a sit-down type of consultation or how you're going to approach the conversion once the 30-day challenge is over?
Not exactly. I need to schedule the one-on-ones with them instead of doing it by phone or by text message the way I was earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea of the way I have it structured, Wayne. It'll eliminate that sit-down sale. You're just doing it all up front. I promise you, it's going to make your life so much easier. You say you got 40 people you need to sit down with. You sit them down and you sign up even 30 of them. This saves you 30 hours of your time.
I have had that, I think, pretty much the exact same thing, and it's probably just the way that I worded it. But I had this worded on the contract in big print.